Good morning, everyone. Steve Murray with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Today, we're going to talk just a quick 20. We're trying to get through these in 20 minutes and really just be a sales idea, sales thought that can help you grow your business. And so, our presenter today, as he is on all of our 20 for 20 focus events, he is Dave Pimper. He's a coach with Lazarus Coaching. Today, we're going to talk again about non-hardship in-service withdrawals and how Dave and how you can use those and talk about those with your clients to grow your business in a steady way. So joining us will be Dave here just shortly. He's getting on with us, and what he's going to talk about. And you're free to ask, obviously, any questions. Right? We're going to try and not have polls for these, or maybe we'll have one just at the end or something. Not have any advertisements for these. But what he's going to talk about is not only how does he get in front of folks and talk about these things, but also how does he use the process? What does he say in the course of the process to help his clients better understand? Because how many of our clients know what an in-service non-hardship withdrawal is? How many have 401ks? How many have even considered that there's any advantage to having an in-service non-hardship withdrawal? So the question becomes a little bit of, hey, how do I go about finding ways to help my clients, to meet clients, and then to help them understand how maybe a little diversification within their qualified funds portfolio might make sense for them. And that's really what the opportunity is around non-hardship in-service withdrawals are. And certainly then, how do I talk to them about it? How do I go through that process of, how do we find out if it's available, and how do I make it easy for my client to understand each of the facets of the process? So that's what we're going to talk today with Dave Pimper about. So really looking forward to it. Thank you all for joining us. If you have any questions during the event, I want you to type them in. We'll try and get them asked and answered as quickly as we can. If it's a really specific question, we can put you directly in touch with either Dave or someone here at the team that can help you with a very specific question. And we'll get those answered for you one way or another. Also, of course, if we do a poll, all I ask is that you get those asked and answered as quickly as possible. So, Dave, thank you for taking some time out of your schedule. I've just finished a little bit of thanking the folks for joining us, and also giving them a little idea of what we're going to talk about and how they can use the knowledge that they gained from today's event in growing their business. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
You bet. Those are quick sales hitters. I appreciate everyone being on the line with us today. We're going to talk about in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans. This is a 10 to 15 minute webinar, but if you take this, put it into action, I'm going to virtually assure you'll increase your business if you do it over and over again. So what is an in-service withdrawal? Or sometimes you'll call it an in-service plan, 59.5 rule, in-service non-hardship withdrawal rule, which is the full name. So that's, and I'm ad-libbing this, but when you turn 59.5 and you're working for a firm or company, government agency that has a retirement plan like a 401k, a 403b, 457 deferred comp, thrift savings plan, all of those, if it's in the documents, the retirement plan documents, you can go in and take money from those plans out once you're 59.5 or over. Still work there, still put into the plan, really nothing changes. And the great thing about that is now you, the advisor, the agent, has a possibility of working with that money. We do this all the time. And the reason is because there are so many more options on the outside, especially when you take a guaranteed options, with the exception of maybe a money market account or a stable income fund, which has barely averaged 2% in the last 10 years. We have a lot of different kind of things that we could certainly put money into. So that's pretty cool. We'll go to the next slide. Maybe I can do it. There we go. Now, let's talk a little bit about the specifics. You got to be normally 59.5 years of age or older. They're available in the plans I talked about, also TSPs. You don't want to take the money out in cash because the government's that it's taxable, and they're going to take 20 out for withholding. So it needs to be directly rolled over to another IRA. So it's a tax-free transfer, but more options. And that's a big thing for your client, is to give them more options of what they can do in that plan. So why do companies offer those? The one of the big reasons is liability. I mean, like right now the markets are down. I mean, I don't know if you saw today, but Steve, did you see the markets are down nearly 1,300 points today? And that is after the markets were up almost 1,000 points the day before. There's tremendous volatility in the marketplace right now. But what happens is, if a person comes and says, I'm going to sue you because you didn't have good option choices in my retirement plan when their money was bigger, meaning for that person who's 59 and over later in age. Well, what happens is they could have done an in-service plan. They could have gone to any advisor, any agent, used insurance, as far as annuities, could use investments, but there's options out there. That's one of the big reasons. Also, it's just to give people more control of their money. I mean, that's a big deal, and also a lot of times people will continue to work for a minimum number of hours, and they're able to keep that 401k intact, but they want to take it out and take be in control of that money. So how do you find it? Well, we always ask the people to bring in. So if I have a Social Security workshop or from Retirement Boss Radio and we got leads coming in, I'm always asking them. It helps Dave to figure out what to do is to bring in your investment statements. So you look at who the custodian is. Is it Fidelity? Is it Vanguard, Mass Mutual, Principal Group, American Funds, T. Rowe Price, Ameritrade, Schwab? I mean, who is it? Who's the custodian? You just call that custodian and say, is an in-service non-hardship withdrawal provision, is it available, in this investment? And so what happens, they're going to tell you right there what the rules are. I used to go to the human resource director. It was just like pulling teeth to get that person to call you back, to give you information, but not the custodians or not the trustees. They are the ones that absolutely sponsor the plan. They know, and they'll always tell you, okay? The options they don't have now, that's the big thing for the person. In the long run, we just want to make that portfolio better. That's what we'd like to do. So remember, an indirect rollover is when the check is made out to you. And from a company retirement plan or government retirement plan, they're going to take out 20%. We don't want that to happen. It needs to be made out to either the custodian and mailed to you and then rolled over, or it goes directly to the custodian and mailed to the custodian. It's a tax-free transfer. There's no taxation. There's continued tax deferral. There is more investment and annuity options, but you're able to consolidate your IRAs. That could be a big deal. When you get older, you don't want to have all of those different IRAs, or 401ks hanging around. Remember, RMDs they're forced upon us at the age of 72, but controlling your money. So many people want to control their money. I will tell you right now, and I do work with the pre-retired and just retired, I would say that 80% of my business is rollover money from retirement plans. And of that 80%, I would say at least 25% of it is in-service non-hardship withdrawals. Might be a little more than that, might be even 40%, maybe even close to half of that. But it's a big business, and it can be for you also. There's my mug, 67 years old. Started in July the 9th of 81, so it'll be 41 years coming up in a couple months. Actually, I've done over 550 public seminars now, and I'm still in full production. So what happens is that when you're in full production and you're doing those in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans left and right. I'm it's just a way of life for me. And what's great about this is you can give them options what they cannot normally get within their 401k. But I do coaching. If you need extra information on in-service non-hardship withdrawals, absolutely certainly bring that on up. And I'll just kind of finish with this to say there is a lot to think about when it comes to non-hardship withdrawal plans. There are decisions you're your client may have and choices and options your client may have, which they never knew was available. Yeah, that could be up to them. There's an old saying, it says, procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Yet tomorrow never comes. People who procrastinate normally lose out. The people who take uh, um, action are normally the people who are most successful. I've never had anybody come to me and say, Dave, you cannot believe how much money I've made from procrastinating. It just doesn't work that way. And the reason I bring this up is that for yourself, if you heard something today that you thought, that might be something really worthwhile for me, then Steve is gonna put up a slide, and it's if you mark yes on in service non hardship withdrawals, you just got more questions about them. Yeah, then I will certainly give you a call. So I don't know if Steve is gonna when he's gonna put this poll up. It'll be just shortly, but I'm going to answer one of the questions. They said, what percentage of the companies have an in service plan? And that's a good question. Back years ago, say 20 years ago, I would say only, I mean, maybe the Fortune 500 biggest companies, maybe 40%, 40% had an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan. I would say it's probably 85%. For medium-sized plans, it's probably 50% of the plans, and for smaller plans, maybe 25 or 30. So if it's a bigger plan, it most likely will have an in-service non-hardship withdrawal provision. It's a good point. So if you've got questions, type them on in. I'll be more than happy to answer those. Another question, and this comes up from time to time. Can you get to all their money or just a portion of the money through an in-service withdrawal? Well, it depends on the plan. There are some plans where you can only do the vested money. There are some plans you can only do the money you put in, not the matched money. There is some plans where if you take all of it out, you cannot go in and contribute money for the first 6 months. This is something that you talk to the custodian about. That custodian is going to know what the ins and what the outs of that plan are. I hardly ever take all the money. I normally leave 5 or 10. So if there's 600,000, I might leave $10,000 in it. Do I take partials often? All the time. I just couple 2 weeks ago, I had over $1 million 401k, and they're all concerned about the market, and rightly so. And they didn't have many good uh, safety options in the 401k, but he wanted 25% of it in, so he took 250 out, gave it to me. I put it into a fixed indexed annuity. Couldn't lose the principal as long as it's held to maturity. The surrender charges, yeah, worked out great. Yeah, and that alone made me like 16 grand. Just from that one in service non hardship withdrawal. So if people are working, I think it's extremely important if they're over the age of 59 and a half to ask them, is this available? And you know what? Most people don't have any idea if it's available. No idea whatsoever. So if you're not talking about in-service non-hardship withdrawals, if you're not asking the people, do you know if you have that? If you don't understand, if you're not explaining to people, here are some of the options that you have for control of your money. Most people like to have that control of their money. If there's any other, Steve, are you there yet? If there's any other questions, certainly type those on in, and I'll be more than happy to answer those. As we're just waiting, Steve will be back just in a second, but as we're waiting for Steve to get back, I will say this: you know, people, there's different ways to market your practice, but what we're trying to do is just have enough set appointments every day that we're staying not just busy, but that we're productive. And being productive in this business to me means that we're writing business. And having appointments is important. So when I talk to people doing in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans, I'm normally talking to people who I've set up appointments from Social Security seminars, and we do that. We set those up for you. A lot of those are coming from Retirement Boss Radio. We've got uh, radio shows, just mine and outside of mine, where we're generating those constant leads that are set up on your calendar, so they are prospects. It's a big deal. So if you don't have enough prospects each and every day, and it's a bit of a pay to play. You're going to pay to do seminars. You're going to pay to do radio. But I'll tell you, people are more than happy to pay if the return on their investment is good. And the return on the investment for our workshops and Retirement Boss Radio is high. It's high for the industry. And so I don't work for IAMS, but I coach for IAMS, but I'm a full-time producer. I do this absolutely day in and day out. So as Steve puts up this poll question, you can mark yes or you can mark no, but all yes means is that Brady Pelzer is going to give you a call today and just ask when is a good time, and he has my calendar. When is a good time here, and we're gonna get an appointment set on in. Those are about 15 minutes long. They aren't long and in depth, but what they are, we're getting a feel of maybe how really understanding in service or any other kind of marketing could really help your business. Steve, I answered a couple of the questions, but is there any others or things we want to do and cover before we call it a day here?
I've got a couple. I mentioned seminars and radio up front, so I have a couple questions about radio. If you don't mind, let me go up to the top and let's just start at the beginning.
Okay.
So Ron asks, what if a company does not offer an in-service transfer option? Do you run into that much right now, or is it kind of the
some? I had one which the gal was the lady was her husband was a client, and he was having really good success, and she wanted to move her money, and she works with the company here in town, big company. I won't name it, but it's a named company. And sure enough, it was 480,000, and she's 62 years of age, and she wanted to move it, and there's just no way to move it. So does it happen a lot? And I won't say a lot, but does it happen? Yeah, it certainly happens time to time. It's disappointing, but again, if you have 10, 12, 15 appointments behind it, that's why I think the best word in a salesperson's what do you call that? The best word in his vocabulary?
Repertoire.
Is that what you private school guys would say in your vocabulary? Yeah. That I would say it's next. You darn right. Yeah. You got learned up. Yeah, it's next. Next, next appointment. You know what? It does hurt me some. It takes a teeny bit away from my psyche when I hear no or can't do it. But you know what? It doesn't last because I got a bunch of appointments behind it. If that's your only one, that really hurts because there's not a next.
Sure.
What we do, even you know this. I mean, if IAMS is very good of trying to get people in that next appointment mode. That's extremely important in today's day and time.
Yep. Well, just because you can't do an in-service non-hardship withdrawal doesn't mean there's not other opportunities to do business with them. And there's certainly the next question comes from James. These in-service transfers are only available age 59 and a half and up. That's a question.
That is correct. That's correct. Now, I have seen them go lower than that one time. One time I saw it lower. Now, a lot of the like if you're a policeman or a fireman or a city employee, sometimes it happens at 55. Okay, so but that's not an in-service plan. It just happens to be part of their plan. But in the ones that in the corporate America, the thrift savings plan, everything there is 59 and a half or over. Yep, that's correct.
Good. I'm just going to keep this slide handy because it always comes up. People want to hear radio shows. So this is, and I did a quick chat to everybody. This is the Retirement Boss Radio. It's www.retirementbossradio.com. But if you wanted to hear a radio show and hear how Dave talks about in-service non-hardship withdrawals on a radio show, I'm guessing that probably comes up on almost every one of your radio shows, does it not, Dave?
Talking about in-service?
Yeah. as a call to
Yeah, I would
action?
say I would say probably Social Security does because that it's it, I would say that in service. I mean, the last two or three shows it has, but I would say probably two out of every three shows I mentioned something about in service provisions because it's pretty cool when people find out there's an option with
Yeah.
their money or there could be an option. And you know what?
Yep.
Options are good. People. That's why people there's a lot of big people because they love the option of the buffet line. It's options that people like.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about me mainly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so if you wanted to hear just in general what a radio show sounds like, or hear how Dave talks about it, and I see someone also mentioned, do we do Social Security seminars? I think I replied to the whole group on that. And maybe, do you have time, Dave? Can you talk about what you do on the Social Security seminars? I know it's a little off topic here today, but we've got two questions on it. So can you
Yeah,
talk about your seminars?
yeah. And Steve, just to let you know, we had two people with IM sign up today for Social Security seminars, so
Oh
things
yeah,
are
it's hot.
busy. I
Yeah.
mean, they're I don't know if they're pre-pandemic yet, but the U.S. has opened, no doubt
Yeah.
about it. And
Mhm.
I just talked to an outside vendor. It was a securities vendor because I do some security business, and he was talking about how there's not very many brokers doing marketing right now. And he said that's one of the things why you've been so busy and you're writing the business you are because you're marketing. Well, to me, it just it just makes sense. I mean, I like staying busy. I enjoy helping people, and I like making money. And that's what marketing does. It enables those three things to happen. Social Security seminars. I've done 552 public seminars. Over 100 of those have been Social Security. Without without any meal. We just have water and give waters and some sealed candy away. That's what we give, and some little packets of like Cheetos and stuff. I mean, because of the pandemic, we aren't doing cookies and stuff anymore. But it's real simple, and we go over Social Security. But the thing about Social Security is it's not a sale. It's educational. But when they come in, and we do it off of a slide that is called the five pillars of income, and that's how we basically use for a worksheet to look for money. What are your wages? What are your pensions? What are your investable assets? And that's where we go in and we get that 401k or that dormant 403b or the IRAs or the Roth or the brokerage accounts or the annuities or cash value on life insurance, real estate, on and on and on. We get that. And then we do also get what the RMDs on traditionals and how Social Security complements those. That's the five pillars of income. But we get all those assets, and then we're trying to find, who's servicing those. How happy have you been? Do you like that your account? I mean, Steve, you know this right now. Did you? You probably saw this. The market's up 900 and some yesterday. When I
Mhm.
last looked, the market was down 1,300 points today. Well, you know what that does in the safety business when there's volatility like that. What do people do?
Run for
They
it.
flock to safety. They
Yep.
they flock
Yep.
to it. Darn right. And we just talked about this. I mean, my guaranteed business is up. Steve, that's what you do. You guys are in the guarantee business, but you know how busy. I mean, you just told me yesterday how you know you know things
Can't
are.
keep
I
up
mean,
right
this
now.
is this
Yep.
is tough. I mean, it's tough to find
Mhm.
enough employees good employees to go in, which IAMS does have, but the right employee to go in and to manage them on a business. So what a
Mhm.
great time for you to be in this business. But Social Security seminars, if I can get ten set appointments from that, I'm happy as a lark. And last time I got 14. I hope I get 10 to 15 this time. I got in another week. I've got Social Security workshops coming up, and we got just lots of people. So $2,750. I mean, you're not guaranteed. What you're guaranteed is 35 registrations, and you're going to get a lot of appointments out of that. But we guarantee the registrations. Not many people are giving out a guarantee under $3,500, and ours is $2,750. So if you're trying to get in front of more people, I also coach the person up because you're nice enough that you pay me, Steve, to do that, and it doesn't come out of the client's pocket at all. So yeah, they've been they slowed way down, of course, and stopped during the pandemic, but things are almost back to normal again when it comes to marketing seminars.
Yeah, I would say, we kind of when things closed down, we discontinued seminars and we canceled 17 seminars. And I think we're probably now getting up close to that 20, 25 seminars in the planning stages right now. If that's something that you're interested in, by all means, I check yes on that poll. If you haven't already put no, or if you put no and it's gone and you want to say yes to that, because it'll give you a chance to talk with Dave. Just say, hey, give me the seminar information, how it works, what it does. Dave has a seminar, he has a coaching. Everything can work, but the possibility of it working grows exponentially when you have the step-by-step assistance. That's why we don't do seminars now anymore without that step-by-step assistance. And then the $2,750 for 35 registrants is the best deal going right now. You can look high and low everywhere because that is done kind of almost on an internal basis. And our goal is to get you in front of as many people as possible for as efficient use of your money and time as possible. So it's a good deal. It's a great time. I would take advantage of that. You've all seen a little bit of what Dave does, and you can certainly go to that www.retirementbossradio.com and listen to the radio show. And if you want to talk more about how that works and the spend works, we've toyed around with some things that we might do here at IAMS to further encourage that, because it's just too good right now. I mean, you're the right person in the right marketplace. It can, not overnight, but over a relatively short period of time, change the trajectory of your business. And so we're all on board to help you find a way. All we ask is that when we show you how to do it and you get real successful, that you remember the folks who helped you get there, because there's a lot of opportunity right now on radio, and there's no doubt that we can get you there. Again, A to Z coaching, everything that you need to be successful. We'll set up the time, we'll get you the advertising slot through Dave's team. Everything that you need, it can be done right here. So we've used more time. There's one more question, Dave. Let me look at it really quick. Oh, I already answered that one. Marketing pieces are available. I got that question a couple times. What's a good budget monthly for Radio Boss? So, Dave, can you just real quick talk about budget? What you see folks in general spending on radio?
$3,000 to $4,000 all in. $3,000 to $4,000. Pay a little more, but I'm on multiple stations. But $3,000 to $4,000. I've seen it as all in, meaning the radio time is about 60% of what the cost is, maybe even 70% of the cost of the radio, and that's per month. So you have the radio time, you have an hour show, and you have a co-host. You got a production company, you got show notes, you got myself coaching you, myself critiquing. Is that how you say that? Critiquing?
It is. Critiquing is exactly right.
I'm having problems today. This happens at my age. Sometimes you have problems. No, but when you critique of what you got, it helps. So I'm not trying to go in and say you're doing this wrong and this wrong and this wrong. Here's the things you're doing right. Here's the things that maybe you need to have help on. Those are the things I would add. When you get about 2 or 3 of those, it just makes the whole show better. And so I help you through that. Then we have a call center that it comes to. All of that stuff included. It's going to run somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 a month. We just put some in the Carolinas. It was actually in Kentucky. We just put a person on board yesterday. So that is really gaining steam. It's a fairly new program, but all of the chinks are out of it. And I'm averaging again 10 to 12 appointments or more per month. So the idea is it's a bit of a pay to play, both seminars and Retirement Boss Radio. But I'll tell you right now, if you don't have enough appointments coming in, absolutely mark yes. We should talk and give you some ideas, and maybe then you can really use of how in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans, you can roll that money over and really help that person and make some fine compensation.
Good. Well, we've gone long, and I apologize to everybody for that. We try to keep these right at 20 minutes. We get a couple questions, and we are long-winded in our answers, or at least I am, Dave. You're very succinct. Thank you for that.
Right.
But there's a. I'm not being facetious.
Okay.
The bottom line is that these are meant to help you with the sales idea or approach with your current clientele. If you want to take advantage of getting a little bit more information, we'll make that available to you as the marketing pieces are available. We have a little non-hardship in-service withdrawal marketing package that we'll be glad to send. That's got social posts in it. It's got mail pieces that you can use, and then a little information on how they work in general. Dave has talked you through some of the processes of how you go about working with your client and working with the TPA or administrator that administrates it to find out if they're available. You're going to find, Dave, would you say 70% now companies offer in-service non-hardship withdrawals on their 401ks or more?
Yeah, no, I'd say that's about right. A little more with big companies, a little less with small companies, but overall, I would say it's well above 50 and probably under 75. So I think you're about right. Yep.
Yeah. And that average premium on those is probably, on average, probably about double or more what you normally see on other types of business that you do with your clients. I mean, they're usually relatively big amounts of money that you're dealing with, even if you're only dealing with 2/3 or a third of it as a non-hardship withdrawal. So great opportunity for you. We'd love to help you. We got great pieces. If you need to get in front of more people, don't hesitate to call us. It can be done. And it can be done very efficiently and in a way that makes perfect sense from return on investment for you, where you can get 3, 4, 5, 6 times your investment back. So let us help you. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Thank you, Dave. I know you got plenty of appointments right now and people to see. I appreciate you taking a few minutes out with us.
You bet. Thank you very much. And thanks everybody for your time too. Have a very fun weekend. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.